Hey guys, I'm back here talking about this little two-piece practice kit that I got here. Really, really nice bass drum. It's a 24-inch Session Studio Classic. And the snare drum is also the same make and model. I don't want to talk about the drums though. I want to talk about the cymbals because I changed the cymbals that I was using. I got two 8-inch splashes. Splashes, yeah, I love splashes, and I use them a lot. 8-inch has really become my favorite size. I know that most people usually get a 10 as their first, or they're only, like if they were only gonna get one splash, it would be a 10. But I really like the sound of the 8. An A Zildjian and a K Zildjian. And I'm not going to play them. Of course, you know the K is darker sounding than the A. To these hi-hats, though, in this ride, this is the thing. See, this is just a little practice kit. I don't need all the fancy big shit here. If the band comes over and we just need to work on some new songs, this is all I need here. I don't need to fill my space with this crazy kit, you know. I'm not on a Neil Peart tour. Focusing on the hats and the ride. Before, I was using a set of 15-inch new beats, and I had a 22-inch ping ride. Played on them for a while, and they are awesome indeed. Without a doubt, they're big and they sound big. But I put them in the case and put them away, and I pulled out this smaller pair. This is actually an 18-inch medium ride. This is an older one. See, it doesn't have an A. This is an older one, but this is in such great shape. This is a 13-inch new beat hat set. And let me tell you what, the difference here is just incredible. You know, the bigger the cymbals you have, the more volume and energy you're going to get out of them. Kind of like the difference between speakers, you know? You can get the 3-way floor standing speakers with the 215s and put them in your living room. Or you could just get the 3-ways with one single 12. If you reduce, it's not gonna be so much noise, and it's not gonna rattle your ears to death. And here's the thing, this ride right here is an 18, so it's 4 inches smaller than that 22, and it's thinner. It's thinner. That ping ride is it's a very thick, heavy ride, and it was big. It was 22. So when you hit that in this small living room area, it's gonna create a ton of noise you don't need. I've really experimented a lot with the 20, the 22, and I even have a 24. 24s are not cool. Okay, there's nothing cool about having a 24-inch ride. Unless, of course, you're out on tour and you guys are playing in major cities, in large arenas, and that's the way that it is. That would be fine. That would be absolutely fine. But if you're just playing at a small club or in the living room of your little tiny home, a 24 and a 22, it's too much, just too much. So the 20-inch really is the perfect size for all around practice, even light gigging at, if you're playing in your bar band. 20-inch, it's great. It's small enough to get around. And this 18, when I seen this 18, I didn't even know that they made an 18-inch ride. Well, I finally got around to it, and I pulled out my small 13-inch hats, and what a difference. The 15-inch hats are very, very bold. They produce a little bit of a darker tone, than the 13s. You would already know that. But the 13s have really become my favorite size of hat. Right now, I gig with a 14, and again, a 14, like with a 20-inch ride, a 14-inch hat, it's a standard for a reason. It's right in the middle, it gives you high end, but it also gives you a little bit of depth. 14 really is the perfect hi-hat, but I don't know. I'd even trade that one in and pick up another 13. These 13-inch hats are just amazing. They got that high sound, that high chick sound that I like out of a hi-hat. Now the 15 is cool too. It is kind of cool to have that low, that darker sounding chick, and a lot of people are going for that nowadays. They're even running 16s. Some people, I don't know why, but they take their old 18-inch hats and they're using them. You can use whatever you want. In this video, you can do whatever you want. But for me, I like to keep a hi-hat pair as the pair. I believe that they pair them up for a reason. At the Zildjian factory, they pair them up for a reason. So the top and the bottom, they work together. I like to keep them together as a pair. I don't mix them. The 13s, man, I really am kind of in love with the 13s, but the 14s are great. Anyways, back to this 18-inch medium ride. It produces, obviously, a little higher pitch of a ride with slightly less wash and less overtones, way less overtones. That 22-inch ping ride, though it was so heavy, there was a lot of metal there, and when you hit it, it makes this undertone that just growls after you hit it. It was just a heavy, big old beast of a ride. And coming down to this 18, I know I'm rambling a lot, but geez, I gotta say, I am really, really happy with this small, for practice purposes, just for light practicing. I'm not in here cranking it up. We're not putting on a fucking rock concert. We're just playing to practice. It doesn't kill you so much to play. Not like those big rides. They really produce a lot of energy. And again with the hats, bigger hats, louder sound, bigger sound, lower pitch. These 13-inch hats just make a high pitch, perfect for all purpose, man. I mean, this isn't just a great size of a hat to practice with. Even for gigs, you know, it's smaller, they're easy to handle. I don't like carrying around 15-inch hats. When it comes to me, I really prefer to keep it as light and simple as I can, because you're not getting paid much to like kill yourself. Using a rack, I do use an old pearl rack. It holds the 2 crashes in the ride, and it holds the tom. It makes setup a lot easier. And as far as like crashes, again, you know, you got to remember, you got to think about what you're doing here. If you're just playing in small bars, if you're in a bar band, you know, a 16-inch, even a 14 and a 16, I wouldn't go no bigger than 18. The 19s and 20s that, you know, a lot of touring players use those big sizes because they can. Never anything. I don't own anything bigger than an 18. And yeah, I do love the 14s. The 14s, if you really wanted to go small and you had an 18-inch ride with some 13-inch hats, and you took a 14 and a 16-inch crash, that would be awesome. I use a 16 and an 18. My 14s are at the top of my worship rig. I have 2 14s, and I like to hit them together, a lot of times together for that high-end dynamic, because the 16 just doesn't cut it. The 14s are excruciatingly high-pitched, and when you hit them together, it really makes a powerful statement. That's pretty much it. Yeah, you know, 18-inch medium ride here, guys, and come down to a smaller set of sizes here. And for practice, this is a match. This is a match. These cymbals just sound so good together. And I had these extra splashes hanging around, so I figured I'd just hang them up. And those together too. The K and the A, you can have them in the same size. I really like the 8s. The 8s have that really high-end sound. The 8-inch splash to me is just a really cool sound. Keep it simple. Just keep it simple. My biggest advice is picking the right cymbals, the right size for the job. Those thin crashes if you can, man. Thin crashes over medium crashes. Again, if you're playing at Emily in Tampa, you can bring out your mediums and your rock crashes in the 20s. But most of us peons, we're just playing in a bar band. Pick the right size, pick the right weight for the job. And your cymbals, you can play them and they will sound good. And they will do the work for you, you know? You don't have to hit them hard. You just hit them lightly and keep it simple. That's really the whole thing, man. Use a rack if you can. You know, some kits, you may have a kit or two that you just prefer to, like here I use stands. But like my gigging kit, oh yeah, I use a rack. And I also use a rack for a couple of my other prized setups. So using a rack, definitely something that you want to get into. And it kind of reduces down your hardware. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say. Again, thanks for watching. I really appreciate all of you.